Hey guys, today's May 10th. Today I was working on a few things for a sample library company. I can't really go into that too much today, but some good stuff, lots of percussion work being done today. And you see there's not much I can talk about on that subject, so today I thought I'd talk about something a bit different, a bit more music focused, and that's dynamics. Now, I sometimes spend my day browsing the net, browsing YouTube mainly, listening to other composers' work. I don't know why, that's just what I do. And there's one thing I've noticed about a lot of people just getting started, and that's that there's a very and it happens a lot with bands as well, not just composers, and that's the lack of dynamics. Dynamics, if you don't know, is when you get it's the difference between like soft and quiet. So a large dynamic range is when you've got things in the music that's very, very quiet and things that are very, very loud in the same track. And you see there's this thing going on at the minute called the loudness war, mainly in pop music, and it's started to cross over into film music as well, which is where you compress your master track. Once you finish the track, you're basically over compressing the track and pushing the loudest elements down. So the things with the highest velocity, you're pushing them down, squashing them down, so that you can turn the bottom up. And what you end up with is with the quiet bits loud and the loud bits the same volume. So I mean, when you listen to it, it makes the track overall sound louder. So you're less inclined to turn your volume switch up because the track already sounds loud. And you see, that's why that might be a good thing for some people. I think it's kind of ruining the whole point of dynamics. I mean, there's it comes down to one of those. It's not what you say; it's how you say it. I mean, if I was to say, "Hello, how are you today?" "I'm fine," and I shouted at you, you would hear "I'm fine," just like that. But if I went, "How are you today?" "I'm fine," you know what I mean? You lose that "I'm fine." You lose the emphasis on "I'm fine" because everything's at the same volume. I mean, that's just a very basic example because I couldn't think of anything clever to say. But I hope you see my point that with dynamics, if you have something quiet before something loud, the loud thing is very emphasised. If you've overcompressed your track and the quiet bits are as loud as the loud part just sounds the same. So if you imagine like a horror score where you get the soft kind of and then you've got this kind of tension and you don't know what's going to happen, then you get bang, and the monster jumps out, it scares the shit out of you, your heart goes and everything. If you've overcompressed that and you've got bang, you know what I mean, the bang doesn't catch you off guard because everything's already overcompressed, so your mind's already interpreting it as loud. So dynamics, so get used to it. So when you especially film composers, if you're mixing your tracks and you end up having to master them yourself, do not it's better to be too quiet than it is to be too loud when you're mixing. The reason is if you're mixing with dynamics in mind, so you've got a scene where, like I say, let's take this hypothetical horror scene. So you've got a horror scene. If you overcompress this, you're going to lose the impact of your loud parts. So mix it so that your quiet parts are quiet and your loud parts are loud. I mean, you can automate. I mean, if you really have to compress it, automate the volume perhaps so that you've got the low bits low and the high bits high. But if you just do what happens a lot in pop and rock music now, even when, like, if you listen to any rock track where someone's like if you listen to it, it'll all sound like it's on one dynamic range. The verse where they're talking about how their girlfriend left them and they're all so sad will sound exactly the same as the chorus, and as a side effect, the chorus loses its impact. The part that says, "But I overcame the troubles," you know what I mean? If they're saying something like that, you lose the impact because the dynamics didn't set you up for that to work. I'm kind of rambling around it, but I think you can probably get my point that with no dynamic range, you lose impact. So keep that in mind. I mean, you can still overcompress things and have dynamics. You can have dynamics, but but it's a very fine line between getting it right and getting it wrong. And a lot of the tracks that, going back to what I was saying at the start, listening to tracks on YouTube, especially from newer people, there's no dynamics even within the music. So I mean, the music can be quiet, but you can tell that they wanted something to have more emphasis. So I mean, if you want something to really be emphasized in your music, before you get to that emphasized part, bring the music down. So even if it's a rock track, and you've got like a, let's have it on a scale from 1 to 3 on low, so 1 being low dynamics, 2 being medium, and 3 being high. Have your verse at 2, so it's quite medium, and then before you come into your chorus, which you want to be a 3, have a bridge, which is a 1. So you bring it down, and then if you give the listener time to settle into that level 1 dynamics, the very low dynamics, and then you hit them with a 3 dynamics, that 3 is going to sound louder than if it had just come off a 2. I mean, but when you get into this loudness war thing where everything's over compressed, the verse will be a 3, the bridge will be a 3, and then the chorus will be a 3, and you won't get the impact you desire, because they're all the same. You get me? I've said it about 7 different ways now, so if you don't get me by now, you're not paying attention. So yeah, dynamics. I'd love to have like a little conversation with people on dynamics. So if you've got any questions, or if I'm saying something wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments. Okay, something else I wanted to mention today is some people have been asking me about the ending credits track on Mega Man. Unfortunately, that wasn't by me, so I couldn't include that in my soundtrack, because my soundtrack is only the music I did for the film, which is the score. So that's the underscore and the orchestral elements and things like that were done by me. There's another track in the film. I think it's called Deep Blue, and that plays when Mega Man's fighting the big yellow monster. I forget the name. Yellow Devil? I think that might be wrong, but yeah, that wasn't by me either, so that's not in there. Some other people have been asking me what the order of the tracks should be. Like I said in the last video, when I uploaded the regular version MP3s, for some reason it wouldn't upload with the track list. So what I've done is, if you go to www.hybrid2.com and find the Mega Man soundtrack post, there's a new download link, which is basically, it's just a text file, but it's got the list of the tracks in order that they appear in the film. The high quality version is very close to the film order version, but I reordered a couple of tracks just to make it a little bit more pleasing to listening to, so you didn't end up with like light dark light dark 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 light 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 light. So it's kind of got this light dark light dark light dark kind of vibe, so you're not listening to the same thing in a row kind of thing. Yeah, you get me. Just take this opportunity to thank everyone again who's been donating. It's still going really well. People are still donating. Feel free to keep donating, because like I say, the more I get, the closer I get to getting this new equipment so that I can make some better sounds. Yeah, I've got the next project I've got coming up is I can't really talk about it, but it's, like I say, it's going to be like a dark horror thriller. And I've got all these. I've got a few ideas for the score. I mean, it's going to be very electrical, but the theme I'm going with musically is tortured voices. That's the phrase I'm using when I approach the score. Tortured voices. So the score will be full of lots of human voices that are screaming, that are crying in pain. That are whispering horrible words and things, and then manipulating them into score. So I mean, if you imagine a scream like rah, like a really painful scream, like someone's just had their nuts cut off, imagine that kind of scream of a man. If you imagine the actual audio file of that, there's a lot of sonic, texture, a lot of sonic texture. There's lots there to play with. There's a lot of emotion in that audio file. There will be a lot of quality to play with when I'm manipulating the sound afterwards. So yeah, the theme of the film for me will be tortured voices. Again, I'm running out of time. I don't know how I managed to fill 10 minutes so easily. But yeah, during this week I hope to do another screencast of something or other in Ableton Live, so keep an eye out for that. Please keep donating. I'm really appreciative of those that do. When you donate, leave me a message and let me know what you think as well. Okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully I've got more to talk about. Leave me some comments. See you later. Bye.